Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be discussing space law by using an example court case. To start off, I want to explain what is space law. These are pretty much just space laws that deal with anything outside of our planet and the orbit of Earth and stuff like that. Most of the laws uh, consist of like rules that should benefit all of mankind. The case we'll be looking at is the Hughes Communications Galaxy Incorporated versus the United States. This company is nowadays known as just Hughes. They cut it short. And this company wanted to send up 10 of their satellites. They had like three different types that they wanted to send up. So they went through a launch services agreement with NASA at the time, and they wanted them to send up the satellites for them. Unfortunately, NASA failed to do that, and because of one of their shuttle explosions, and they had to cancel all operations. This costed Hughes a lot of money, so they decided to sue NASA. So who was involved? We had the Hughes Communication Galaxy, which was pretty much just like a communications company, and they would be considered the plaintiff, and we had the United States, in particular NASA. They were the defendant because they were being sued for breach of contract because they didn't keep their word in a way. Uh, they were supposed to launch the satellites into orbit to the best of their efforts, and they did, but some things went wrong, and they had to cancel everything. So here we have a timeline of what happened. The first interaction between the two companies was December 1985. This is when they first signed the launch service agreement, and they decided to launch up the 10 satellites for Hughes. And then about 1 month later, in January the following month, the NASA space shuttle Challenger exploded, and they had to halt all operations. And in a few months later, President Reagan announced that NASA would no longer be launching commercial satellites. Uh, it was a couple of years later until there was a lawsuit filed. On FindLaw, this is the like first case that I could find relating to this, and it was in 1992. So about like 6 years after like Reagan announced that they would no longer be sending them, and that was the first one, but it wasn't the one that we're looking at. The one that we're looking at is the final and where the decision was made. So in 1995, the contract officially ends between Hughes and NASA, and then and the next date is November 13th, 2001. That was the decision date when they finally announced that Hughes shall receive compensation from the damages that NASA caused through the contract. So what is it that led to the judgment that Hughes ended up winning and got their compensation? Well, Hughes was fighting in court for compensation, uh, and it got complicated. They had to look into all the financials to see how much they were actually gonna get. So they had like professionals on both sides. We had Mr. Corrali, who was the government's expert for NASA, and for Hughes it was Mr. Hammer. There were several discussions as to how much it would have costed to send all satellites originally, and how much Hughes had to spend to send it up their own way using a different launch mechanism that didn't involve a shuttle. The aftermath of the judgment. At the end, Hughes ended up winning the case, and they received $680,625. This was all the compensation that came from the contract. They also tried fighting for insurance costs that also like skyrocketed after this. But they were not. It was rejected by the court, so they couldn't get any funds from that. Till this day, launch service agreements are still around, and this case probably lets companies know now, like to put more importance into this type of stuff and make sure that a mistake like this doesn't happen again. So, what if there were no space laws? Space laws are very important because in the case that there was like a war or something, it would be very dangerous if there weren't any, because you could send weapons up over the atmosphere. People would probably be taking advantage of each other if there wasn't the rule that everything should benefit mankind. And it can be argued with the new Space Act of 2015 with the asteroid mining that Barack Obama signed, that the U.S. is kind of like greedy, I guess, since the U.S. has most of the technology. So you could say that they're going to benefit the most out of this, and other countries not so much. The future of space laws. I think that there definitely should be a revision of laws pretty soon, because of like how fast companies are progressing nowadays. For example, Elon Musk and SpaceX, they're planning on colonizing Mars, but how would that really work? Because how would governance work? Because we're not really, based on the laws that there are right now, we're not allowed to colonize anything. So I'm curious as how new laws are going to be put in place. Weapons is another topic. So, like, will weapons be allowed in space or other planets? And how would, like, if there was war in space, like, how would that even work? And as time passes, debris and trash in space and around the atmosphere is not an issue that we can keep avoiding. And eventually, we're going to have to make more regulations on that. And that's the end.